Okay, let's just jump right in. We're living in an age of AI. And building a unique brand, it's tougher than ever. The real question is, how do you stop these incredibly powerful algorithms from getting your story, well, completely wrong? We're going to dig into that. So, have you ever done this? You Google your own company or your own name, and that little AI summary pops up, and you're just shocked by what it says? If that's happened to you, you are definitely not alone. Honestly, this is one of the biggest questions that every single brand, every creator is facing right now. And here's the thing, right? This is the core problem. These AI models, they're trained on just enormous amounts of public data, and their whole job is to categorize things, to put them in neat little boxes. So what happens? They might misclassify you, they could completely miss what makes you special, or even worse, they can kind of flatten your identity into some generic, boring description. And just like that, you've got this distorted public image that you have absolutely no control over. So you gotta ask, how in the world do you fight back against that? Well, there's actually a solution. It's a really groundbreaking strategy, and frankly, an invention from a group called the Black Friday Agency, and its founder, Curtis Witt. It's called the Betweener OS, OS for short. And what it is a super precise roadmap for building an identity that's so clear, so strong, that AI just can't get it wrong. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll touch on that AI perception problem. Then we're diving straight into the three main phases of the Betweener OS: finding your truth, creating your category, and anchoring it all in AI. And then we'll talk about why this whole thing is, well, a total game changer. And boom, here it is, the whole 8-step Betweener OS, all in one shot. Now I know, it might look a little complex at first glance, but just look at the flow here. It's super logical. It starts on the left with figuring out what's real, moves through the middle where you actually create something new, and ends on the right by making sure the AI can see it. This is the master plan, and we're about to walk through it step by step. Okay, let's jump into phase 1, finding your truth. Think of this as the diagnosis phase. This is all about figuring out that gap between who you really are and what the AI thinks you are. This whole phase really boils down to 2 key steps. First up, you've got the reality audit. This is where you look inward. You do a deep dive and document everything that makes you unique. Your processes, your workflows, your secret sauce. Then you've got the AI perception audit. This is where you look outward. You actually go and ask the big AI models to get a, let's say, brutally honest picture of how they see you right now. So what you get out of this are 2 super important documents. You get an entity reality report, that's the ground truth, what you actually are, and then you get an AI perception map. That's the machine's kind of flawed, distorted view. And the space between those two, that's what's called the visibility gap. And that is the exact problem this whole system was built to fix. All right, so we found the gap. Now what? Well, phase 2 is all about building the bridge to cross it. This is the creative part. This is where we actually forge a brand new, totally unique, and, this is key, defensible identity from scratch. It all kicks off with step 3, identifying what's called your bedrock pillar, or domain A. And what's so brilliant about this part is that it's all about objectivity. We're not talking about marketing fluff here. This is an anchor, something rooted in the real world that you can actually defend. Like a legal standard, a scientific principle, something solid. Okay, so next up, step 4 is domain B. This is the client domain. And if domain A was that objective truth, think of domain B as your subjective magic. This is your special craft, your unique way of thinking, that secret sauce that only you have. And now for the really cool part, the alchemy, if you will. Step 5 is where we create the Betweener fusion node. You literally take that objective anchor, domain A, and you fuse it with your subjective magic, domain B. And when you combine them, you create something completely new, something that has never existed before. And what's the result of that fusion? It's the ultimate prize, a category of 1. What does that mean? It means you're not just another company in a crowded space anymore. No way. You've literally invented a brand new market where you are the undisputed leader because you're the only one in it. Now that is real defensible differentiation. But look, just having a brilliant idea isn't going to be enough to convince an AI. So that's where step 6 comes in. Framework cell creation. This is where you make it official. You build a structured model around your new category, complete with core principles and a clear doctrine. You're basically turning an abstract idea into a tangible system, one that can be taught, and, crucially, one that can be understood by machines. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most critical phase, anchoring in AI. Okay, so you've built this amazing new identity.
Great. Now you have to make it real. You have to make it understandable to the very machines that control how the world sees you.
Step 7 introduces this really powerful idea called the Semantic Endurance Layer. The best way to think about it is like a digital Rosetta Stone for your brand. It's a whole collection of stuff that's built not really for human eyes, but specifically for AI to consume and understand. It's all about translating your new category into a language that the machines can speak fluently.
So, what's actually in this layer that you're building for the AI? Well, it's a bunch of very tangible things. We're talking about structured data, like schema, that basically speaks directly to Google and other search engines. We're talking detailed FAQs that answer every question imaginable. You're even building what's called a truth corpus of your core documents. It's like you're creating an entire curriculum to teach the AI exactly who you are and what you do.
And finally, the last piece of the puzzle, step 8, visibility engineering and publishing. Because look, it's not enough just to create all this stuff. You have to get it out there. You have to strategically publish it everywhere. Your website, your social channels, press releases, you name it. The goal is to get it all indexed and permanently anchored into the AI's knowledge graph. This is how you make your new identity a permanent part of digital reality.
Okay, so after all that work, what's the big payoff? Why does this whole process change everything for a modern brand? You know, the source material for this has a perfect metaphor. Once you go through this whole 8-step journey, your brand is no longer like a ship that's just lost in a fog of AI mistakes. Instead, it becomes a lighthouse, a bright, clear, powerful beacon of truth that all those AI systems can see from miles away and use to navigate. So what's the bottom line? It's simple. You take back control. You are no longer at the mercy of some algorithm's flawed opinion of you. You've defined your reality, you've created your space, and now you own your unique category of one.
And that really just leaves us with one last, very important question to think about. If you don't go out and define your own identity, are you really okay with letting an algorithm do it for you?